All right, let's move on to the third round real quick. Again, everything gets doubled from the second round. A great take gives you 800 points. A good take gives you 400. An okay take gives you 200 points. And a bad take, again, 0 points. Let's transition now to your team, Devin, the Baltimore Ravens, who clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC, led by Lamar Jackson, who had not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 touchdowns of the day. The third game of his career, I saw the stats today, blew my mind. The third game of Lamar's career where he had more touchdowns than incompletions. He was absolute money, a perfect pass rating in this game against a Dolphins defense that since Jalen Ramsey came back has actually been playing pretty darn well. The Ravens clinching the number 1 seed in the AFC and playing absolutely unbelievable football. So listen, we'll see what they're able to do in the playoffs. Again, they play the Steelers this week, but I'll ask you this question, Mike Guido. Is anything short of a Super Bowl title a failure for the Baltimore Ravens?
I think at this point, probably, yeah. I think so. Here's the thing. I think Baltimore at this point, I don't know that you can make the argument that they're not the best team in the league. I mean, the only other team that I think could combat them is San Francisco, and they knocked the doors off of San Francisco in their own building. So I I just don't know that you can say anything other than Baltimore being the best team in the league. And this is, again, with an injured Kyle Hamilton. This is with an injured Mark Andrews, and they're still able to do all of this stuff. Listen, what we've said about Lamar Jackson all year is not wavering. And Devin probably knows this better than anybody. The fact that Lamar Jackson's efficiency numbers are up, right? He's completing a higher percentage of his throws. He's wasting less possessions. It's making all the difference in the world for this Baltimore offense. This is still an offense that can pound the rock, right? They still run the football incredibly well, but now they have playmakers that can make plays in open space. It's unlike a Baltimore team that we've seen in recent years where they needed Lamar Jackson to do everything. And I just don't think that that's the place that they're in right now. Listen, they blew out San Francisco. They blew out Miami. They blew out Detroit early in the year. Like, these are good football teams. They blew out the Browns. Like, these are good football teams, and Baltimore is knocking their doors off. So, yeah, Dev, I think the pressure's there, bro. It's Super Bowl or bust for you guys, I think.
I agree with you in many respects. And also, too, I've said all season long, and I still maintain this, I do think the Niners had the best roster in the league. But think about the Niners, but you put Lamar Jackson on them. That's essentially what the Baltimore Ravens are right now. By the way, with a better offensive line than the 49ers have as well, because that's kind of the one weakness in San Francisco. Baltimore's offensive line is excellent. We know John Harbaugh's history in the playoffs winning a Super Bowl. And Lamar Jackson, I think we would all, again, I didn't even pose the question, is Lamar the MVP? That's out of the question. We're not even debating that going to week 18. I think it's Lamar, and it's not particularly close. I'm going to give you a great take here once again, Mike Guido, to get you to 1,400 points in terms of the Ravens roster and what Lamar's been able to do from an efficiency standpoint. I think you make some great points all the way around. All right, to our Ravens fan in the building, and I'm going to try and survive this as a Steelers fan. Here we go. Devin, is this a Super Bowl title or bust season year for the Baltimore Ravens?
After everything that Mike just laid out, beating the Lions, nobody gave us really the chance to beat them. Beating the Seahawks, they gave us a slim chance to beat the Seahawks. Beating the 49ers, we already know how Mike Fleur already see how he felt about us. Winning there and beat the Dolphins. And it's just not like close games. These are games that we are blowing teams away. We are shutting teams out in the second half. The defense is not allowing you to score 20 points. It's like, what more? We have to win a Super Bowl. At first, it was just get out the divisional round, because that's all Lamar really has to do to really start making his name more noticeable and as an elite status quarterback, is just to get the hell out of the divisional round. But now, after pretty much going undefeated since week 8, 9?
Yeah.
You know, it's like now you got to keep the train rolling, because you got to sit here and think, after all that stuff, like Mike Guido said, without Mark Andrews, we are 8-0 without Mark Andrews all time. And primetime football, we are 37-14. When it comes to Lamar versus NFC teams, he is 20-1. When it comes to Sunday, it doesn't matter where you put us at. You can put us in London. You can put us in California. You can put us in Florida. You can put us back home at the bank. It doesn't matter where you putting us right now. It seems like we are geared up to say that we are set for primetime football, which is the biggest stage, is Super Bowl Sunday. So, yes, it has to be Super Bowl or nothing when it comes to here in the Flock Town.
And Baltimore's game is one that travels very well. I saw this this little list today, and it's unbelievable how great they are on both sides of the ball. I'll try and get through this relatively quickly. But Baltimore ranks second in points per game this season, fourth in yards per game, first in rush yards per game offensively. Defensively, they're for their best scoring defense in football. They're fourth in opponent yards per game, first in sacks, second in opponent touchdown to interception ratio, and second in opponent pass rating. So in other words, they're dominant on offense, dominant on defense, and we know this doesn't need to be said, but they have the greatest kicker, certainly of this generation, maybe of all time.
Quick question. Did anybody remember who was Georgia quarterback last year?
Stetson Bennett. Yep.
You want to know why? Y'all remember him? Because of Todd Monken.
That's a fact. And that's made a massive difference. We were talking about that before the show. It's made a massive difference for this Ravens team. Devin, you were preaching. You're 100% right. Great take. 1,200 points. Giving the 800. I get you up to 1,200 points going to the fourth and final round. Tim Bernard, I'm going to ask you finally, is this a Super Bowl title or bust season for the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, after what these two guys just talked about, I mean, I couldn't agree more because of just everything that happened. They've beaten the top teams, Detroit, San Fran, and even the domination of Miami. But I just want to take a flashback to 2019. Mm-hmm. Devin, do you remember what happened in 2019?
Couldn't get out the divisional round against the Tennessee Titans.
Couldn't get out of the divisional round. But what did Lamar do? He won the MVP. He was a first-team AP All-Pro. And the Baltimore Ravens were 2-2 entering Week 5. And proceeded to rattle off 12 straight, looking like a dominant Ravens team that was going to go all the way. Now, again, I know it's 2023. It's a different time. It's a different team. But, you know, it's everything seems to be gearing up the same way, you know, with Lamar at this point being a unanimous MVP candidate. Maybe Christian McCaffrey might steal a couple points, but Lamar's playing well. The team is playing well. 8-0 without Mark Andrews. I'm just getting all these feelings like 2019 is going to repeat itself. Now, whether you win in the divisional round or the wild card round, I think that's fine. But if you can't make the AFC Championship game, then it's 2019 all over again. That's just.
So you're saying they'll go out in the AFC title game?
I'm saying that, it's a Super Bowl or bust, and that right now, with the way this team has been playing and Lamar playing as well as he have, 2019 is kind of kicking in for me, kind of, remembering all those bad habits. And if, I think that, I think that there could be a possibility the Ravens could just fall flat on their face and not even make the AFC Championship game.
You want to know what's the two different things from 2019? Mike McDaniel and Todd Monken. It's no more Dane Pease, no more Wink. It's no more Greg Roman. You know what I mean? All the guys who like the blitz on 3rd and 17 instead of trying to play the sticks. You rather go ahead and send a zero blitz. You rather go ahead and run the ball and not open up the playbook for Lamar. So those are two different things that we have going this year.
I don't disagree, but Lamar had similar numbers, and he, that's the thing. Lamar was playing exceedingly well in 2019, and hence him winning the MVP. Good for you. You won the MVP, but at the end of the day, you got to perform in the playoffs. That's really where it matters.
100% agree, and I think that you. Yes, the numbers are somewhat comparable. Actually, Lamar had way more touchdown passes his first MVP year than what's now going to be a second MVP year. I think he's a significantly better player now than he was then. He's a much better thrower from the pocket. I think Pro Football Focus has him as like the number one thrower outside the pocket this season. So he's been excellent, doing that. I'm going to give you a good take here, Tim. 800 points, get 800 points here going to the final round. Looks like we've got some comments real quick. They're from Barry Gret Jr. He says, "I'm not shocked. The Ravens were my original Super Bowl pick." He says Lamar does need to prove himself postseason wise. I think we would all agree with that. Oh, wow. He says he may be the Russell Westbrook of the NFL. I completely reject that notion. That's wild, Barry Grant Jr. And before y'all get on me, I was a Westbrook guy from the jump. So I'm just going to put that out there. That's crazy. Okay. I will say this, though, that there'll be a lot of pushback if Lamar goes down in round 2 again. It's going to be rough, but that's the name of the game. It's the expectations.
If you go down divisional round, it's going to be ugly.
It could be ugly. We know how loaded the AFC is this year. Could potentially face Cleveland. Who knows?